Hello, my name is Dale Lusk, and I am the International Director of Global Engagements of the Mission Priority Serve Globally of the Evangelical Covenant Church. Hi there. I'm also the International Director of Merge. We've been organizing mission trips for Covenant churches for 25 years. We're excited and thankful that you are willing to go and help with relief, recovery, and rebuilding work in a disaster situation. Now, there's something that I want to help make clear to you as you prepare to go. A lot of times when we get into a situation of wanting to help with relief, rebuilding, recovery, we're constantly thinking about cleaning up, tearing up, demolition, rebuilding, construction, work. And a lot of people who go, that's their main focus. But one thing that we would like to remind you about is the people involved. The people who have gone through some of the worst trauma possibly in their entire lives. And you are going to be placed there by Jesus Christ as His ambassador to care for people in His name. One thing that we've talked about at Merge for 25 years is something that we find fundamentally important on any type of trip that is international or even domestic when it comes to disaster relief. And that is people are more important than projects. Let me say that again. People are always more important than any project. They're more important than any construction project. They're more important than any program that we develop. We always have to remember to put people first. I want to give you 3 examples of ways that either people have been hurt by teams that have gone, or they've been helped. So let me give you these 3 examples. One comes from New Orleans after Katrina. A team from a church went to help gut a house to get all of the appliances out, tear up the floors, the carpets, get the sheetrock all cut out, because they wanted to get in quickly to make sure mold didn't grow. And so they were in a hurry. They had a lot of houses to work on. Apparently, one house that they went to had an elderly lady in it who had been living there for many, many years, and she had a house full of mementos. Well, the team came in quickly and wanted to help her out, and in a loving way asked her, maybe it'd be better if you went outside while we gutted your house. They didn't want her to have to be hurt by seeing what was going on, and they needed to do this quickly. But as they were demolishing and gutting the house out, they were stepping on mementos, on photos, on frames, on things that this lady had in her house for many, many years. All she wanted to do was to have some time to get all of her mementos, all of her things out of the house before the team was finished. But it didn't happen. The team, in their enthusiasm for getting the work done, kind of pushed the lady out onto the street. And so one of the covenant leaders found her outside crying and asked her what had happened. And she told the covenant leader, all I wanted was some time to get my mementos. And now the things that I've had for many years are all being walked on. So we have to remember that the people that we're caring for are more important than the projects, the disaster projects that we're a part of. Let me give you some positive examples. We recently had a group go to Houston after Hurricane Harvey, and they went to a home that needed to be gutted as well. And the person in the house had some dishes, a lot of dishes, that she wanted saved. But these dishes were dirty. The floodwaters had gone all over them. It was a lot of work to have to take care of these dishes. And the ministry leader of the area, who was leading the team, not the team, but the ministry leader of the area, just wanted to get in and get this house cleaned up and move on to the next house. But two of the team members, two young ladies actually from Norway, gently took every dish out of the house, placed it in the back of a pickup truck, got some water, and carefully and delicately washed every dish clean, and then took the time to carefully pack every dish so not one would be broken in the moving. And the ministry leader told me later that she had tears in her eyes, seeing how much those two young ladies cared for that woman who had gone through trauma, because they had realized it was the person that was more important than the project. And it reminded this ministry leader of how important the people are when they go through trauma like this. I'll just share with you one more story. This has nothing to do with disaster relief, but has to do with a team that we at Merch had that I'm very proud of. A team from Minnesota, a group of men, went to Mexico to build a church, and their goal was to build it big and build it strong. And so they brought all their tools and they brought all their experience, and when they got to Mexico, they worked hard all day long, working on this church. Meanwhile, there was a group of Mexican men there as well who wanted to participate in the construction, but they were kind of moved to the side as the Americans did their thing. Well, at the very end of the trip, we worked it out where the American men split into small groups and went to eat at the homes of these Mexican men. And the next day when we met the Americans, they said that was the best part of the trip. To sit in someone's home, to eat their food, to spend time getting to know them. Even though we couldn't speak the language very well, we felt like we connected. And that was more important, they admitted, than any of the construction that they had done all week long. So the next year, that group of men came back, and instead of working all gung-ho on the church, they spent quite a bit of time with the men from Mexico, and in fact kind of worked together at a different pace in building the church. So instead of building for them, they worked on the church with them. And then this group of men actually came back a third year. And to be honest, they really didn't do as much work, but they spent a lot of time with the friends that they had made and continued to work on those relationships. You know, as the story goes, 20 years later, the church that sent that group of men from Minnesota helped this one church in Mexico that they had built a church for to plant another church about an hour and a half away in a Mayan community. And now that Mayan community church and the church in Mexico together have planted and helped another church out. And the relationships continue to build. And so we've sent to you information from VOAD, which is an organization that helps with volunteers of disasters around the United States, called Light Our Way, to help you to be prepared. It's a great resource to help you know how you can care spiritually for people that have gone through a disaster, how to emotionally care for people that have gone through a disaster. And it's also great information how you, as the one coming to give care, can take care of yourself, because helping in a disaster is traumatic for the volunteers as well. So thank you for taking the time to read carefully that information before you go, so that you can be prepared to put people before projects as you go and volunteer in this disaster situation. Thank you.